Multi-platinum selling rapper Nicki Minaj is speaking out in support of President Trump as he discusses possible military action in Nigeria.
Started with a Truth Social post from Trump on Friday, which says in part Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria.
Before we dive into this explosive story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because Celebrity Program TV brings you the stories that matter, the moments that shake the entertainment world, and the truth that others won't tell you. Now, let's get into what just happened between Nicki Minaj and Donald Trump that has the internet absolutely losing its mind. Nicki Minaj just did something that nobody saw coming. The queen of rap, the woman who built an empire on being unapologetically herself, has publicly thanked President Donald Trump for threatening military action against Nigeria. Yes, you heard that right. Military action. And the reason? The ongoing slaughter of Christians happening in one of Africa's most populous nations. This isn't your typical celebrity Twitter drama. This is real, this is raw, and this cuts deeper than anything you've seen in entertainment news lately. When Donald Trump posted on Truth Social over the weekend that if the Nigerian government continued allowing the killing of Christians, the United States would not only stop aid but could enter the country, and I quote, guns a-blazing to wipe out the Islamic terrorists, the world watched. Trump didn't stop there. He instructed the Department of War to prepare for possible action, saying if they attack, it would be fast, vicious, and sweet. Those are the president's exact words. Strong words. Controversial words. Words that sparked immediate global reaction. But here's where it gets interesting. Nicki Minaj, born in Trinidad and Tobago, a Caribbean nation with deep cultural and religious ties throughout the region, saw Trump's post and did something that shocked her fan base. She shared a screenshot of his statement on X, formerly Twitter, and expressed what she called a deep sense of gratitude for living in a country where she could freely worship God. Think about that for a moment. One of the biggest names in hip-hop, someone who has built her career in a genre often at odds with conservative politics, is publicly thanking a Republican president for taking a military stance on religious persecution. Nicki wrote, and these are her words, "No group should ever be prosecuted for practicing their religion. We don't have to share the same beliefs in order for us to respect each other." She went further, acknowledging that numerous countries around the world are being affected by this horror, and called it dangerous to pretend we don't notice. She thanked the president and his team for taking this seriously and asked for God's blessing on every persecuted Christian, urging people to lift them up in prayer. Now if you think that's where the story ends, you haven't been paying attention to how the internet works. The backlash was immediate and fierce. One fan challenged Minaj's praise of Trump, writing that we live in a country that wants to weaponize religion so her gay fans can be pushed into a corner and silenced. This is where Nicki Minaj showed exactly who she is when pushed. Her response was direct, unfiltered, and revealed something much deeper than a simple political tweet. She fired back. Imagine hearing that Christians are being murdered and making it about you being gay. But she didn't stop there. Minaj revealed something personal, something that most people didn't know. She talked about how her home was swatted multiple times with her innocent toddler inside, with maybe 20 officers with guns drawn pointed at their home due to what she called political corruption. She told this critic that their being gay couldn't save her from that terror. She said expecting someone to stay oppressed, abused, targeted, harassed, and consistently ignored by public figures who were supposed to be helping them says more about the critic than it does about anyone else. This wasn't just a clap back. This was a woman who has clearly been through something traumatic, something that changed her perspective on protection, safety, and who actually stands up when it matters. Make sure you're subscribed to Celebrity Program TV because we're breaking down every angle of this story that mainstream media won't touch. Meanwhile, Trump doubled down on his threat. When asked on Air Force One if he envisioned troops on the ground or airstrikes against Nigeria, the president said, "Could be. I mean other things. I envisage a lot of things. They're killing record numbers of Christians in Nigeria. They're killing the Christians and killing them in very large numbers. We're not going to allow that to happen." The President of the United States just said he envisions military action, including possibly boots on the ground in Nigeria. Let that sink in. This isn't political theater. This is real foreign policy being discussed in real time. So where does Nicki Minaj actually stand politically? That's the question everyone's asking now. It's unclear if she's a Republican or if she voted for Donald Trump in the 2024 presidential election, but the breadcrumbs are there if you know where to look. Back in October, Minaj tweeted something cryptic but telling. She said, "Flattering photos are allowed to be posted of me again. Thanks, POTUS." She referenced someone named Epiphany having politicians thinking she would lead them to a victory, then asked how much money Vice President Harris had stacked up for her campaign, adding "yikes" at the end. For those paying attention, that reads like criticism of the Harris campaign. Also in October, Minaj retweeted a video of the president's granddaughter, Kai Trump, dancing to one of her songs. Small gestures, but in the world of celebrity politics, these gestures speak volumes. But here's where the story gets even more complex, and this is why you need to stay subscribed to Celebrity Program TV, because we give you the full picture, not just the headlines. Back in October 2020, during Trump's first term, Nicki Minaj gave an interview to Rolling Stone where she was asked about her feelings on Trump. Her answer then was very different from what we're seeing now. She said she wasn't going to jump on the Donald Trump bandwagon, that she understood why a lot of people didn't like him for obvious reasons. But what stuck with her, what really bothered her, was the children being taken away from their parents when they came into this country. Minaj explained that she was one of those immigrant children coming to America to flee poverty, and she couldn't imagine a little child going through all of that, trying to get to another country because they didn't have money or were fleeing from war, and then being taken away from the one person that makes them feel comfort. She said that raised her eyebrows and made her feel something about it didn't sit right in her spirit. But then she added in classic Nicki fashion, "But on Celebrity Apprentice, I think he was funny as hell." So what changed? What happened between 2020 and now that shifted Minaj's perspective so dramatically? Let's talk about what's actually happening in Nigeria, because this is the heart of the story that's getting lost in the political noise. Nigeria is Africa's most populous country with over 230 million people. About half are Muslim and 46% are Christian according to the CIA World Factbook. This isn't a small country with a minor religious conflict. This is a massive nation with deep religious divisions that have turned deadly. Attacks against Christians in Nigeria got international attention when militants from the terrorist group Boko Haram, who oppose Western education, kidnapped 276 predominantly Christian schoolgirls from the town of Chibok. That story made headlines worldwide. But what happened after the cameras left? The violence didn't stop. In recent months, members of Trump's administration have been arguing that attacks on Christians constitute genocide. Senator Ted Cruz claimed the Nigerian government had been complicit in the violence. Nigeria has been listed as a country of particular concern because of violations of religious freedom, joining a list that includes North Korea, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Pakistan, and China. That's the company Nigeria is keeping when it comes to religious freedom violations. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button now, because Celebrity Program TV is the only place giving you these stories without the filter. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Nigeria responded to Trump's threats, calling the characterization categorically untrue. He said, "The characterization of Nigeria as religiously intolerant does not reflect our national reality, nor does it take into consideration the consistent and sincere efforts of the government to safeguard freedom of religion and beliefs for all Nigerians." That's what the Nigerian president said on Sunday in an official statement. But here's the thing, statements from governments and the reality on the ground for ordinary people are often two very different things. Members of Trump's administration endorsed the president's statement, including Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, who wrote on X that the killing of innocent Christians in Nigeria and anywhere must end immediately. He said the Department of War is preparing for action, and either the Nigerian government protects Christians or they will kill the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. This is where entertainment, politics, religion, and international relations collide in a way we've never seen before. Nicki Minaj isn't just a rapper anymore. She's a mother who experienced her home being raided with her child inside. She's a woman from the Caribbean who understands religious freedom isn't guaranteed everywhere in the world. She's someone who has clearly evolved in her thinking about protection, safety, and what it means when a government actually takes action versus just offering thoughts and prayers. Whether you agree with her or not, Whether you support Trump or despise him, what's undeniable is that Nicki Minaj just shifted the conversation in a major way. She took a foreign policy issue that most Americans weren't paying attention to and put it front and center in pop culture. She risked alienating a huge portion of her fan base to speak about something she clearly feels strongly about. That takes courage in an industry where staying politically neutral is often the safest path to maintaining your career. The question now is what happens next. Will other celebrities follow Nicki's lead and speak out about religious persecution happening around the world? Will Trump actually follow through on military action against Nigeria? And what would that mean for U.S. foreign policy in Africa? Will Nicki Minaj face professional consequences for publicly thanking Trump? Or will this moment be seen as her exercising the same free speech she's advocating for? These are the questions we'll be following here on Celebrity Program TV. And if you want to stay ahead of every twist and turn in this story, you absolutely need to be subscribed with notifications turned on because this story is far from over. This is just the beginning of what could be a major shift in how celebrities engage with serious global issues and how political figures respond to religious persecution worldwide. Subscribe to Celebrity Program TV right now because we're bringing you the stories that shape our world, the celebrity moments that actually matter, and the truth that cuts through all the noise. This is where you come for real talk, real stories, and real impact. We'll see you in the next video where we continue to break down the stories everyone else is afraid to touch.